Does your website need more traffic? Well, visit overflowcafe.com today. They make websites popular, and over 41,000 people use their service to gain more customers. They are winning our business. What about you? Visit overflowcafe.com today.
Welcome to Rockafellas Barbershop. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will be blessed and be glad in Him. Today I want to introduce myself. My name is Rico Rodriguez at Rockafellas Barbershop here in San Antonio, Texas, 1733 Babcock Road. My phone number is 210-782-5188. Come out and get your haircut here at Rockafellas Barbershop. You are listening to I Am Refocused podcast on iHeartradio.
You are listening to I Am Refocused podcast special edition with your host, Shemaya Reed. This podcast is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. Now, let's tune into today's podcast.
This is I Am Refocused podcast on iHeartradio, and today we have an awesome show in store for you all. Before I get right into the show, though, I want to thank our sponsors, our partner, Rockafellas Barbershop with the owner, Rico Rodriguez. If you want to get your haircut in San Antonio or you're on your way to San Antonio, make sure you go to 1733 Babcock Road, and that's San Antonio, Texas. And also, we want to give a good shout out to Miss Kim of River City Donuts and Mr. Bebe McClinton of All Sports Speed and Conditioning. You can visit his website at allsportsfitness.net, and also D.W. Brooks Funeral Home and overflowcafe.com. If you want to get as much traffic as you need for your business website, that is the place to be. Again, that's overflowcafe.com. And also another, last but not least, shout out to BeyondBeanie.com. They help kids 10% of all their profits. If you buy a beanie or if you buy a bracelet, they donate 10% of all their profits to kids in need in Bolivia. So once again, if you want to use my code for online shopping on their website, is REED25, and REED25 will give you 25% off. That is REED 25. So on today's show, we have an awesome interview for you guys with combat veteran Isaac Belden. He is the president of 12B Capital. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great, sir. So tell us, how did you form 12B Capital, and give us a little background of the whole mission of that business?
So I served 12 years in the Army, and when I got out, I called myself an accidental salesman. I ended up in the industry. It's kind of a downtime in my life. I wasn't doing a whole lot of anything, and I took a $7 an hour job setting appointments for a company, and I realized I was really good at it. Mm-hmm. So fast forward about 5 years, I was their VP of Sales and Marketing, running an inside sales team of about a dozen guys, and managing some outside independent contractors all over the country. But I just didn't really feel right about what I was doing. I didn't really like the what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of the culture and what was going on there. So I had the idea to go out on my own. Like, there was an idea that it could be done better and that it could be used as a tool to do some good in the world. So 12B Capital was born from that idea that not only could the business owners be treated better, future employees could be treated better, but also we could find a way to turn our business into something that was more than just a moneymaker for me and my family. Mm-hmm. So we set out just to put a little bit of good into the world. You know, I'm a big believer in karma. I believe in what you put out into the world, you're eventually going to get back. So we set out on the road with that idea in mind, and we've been going strong 2 years now, and we've got a couple of projects. Well, one project in particular that we're doing right now that serves nonprofits that we're pretty excited about, that I can tell you a little bit about later.
And tell us what some of the services that you do for your clients.
So primarily, well, I shouldn't say primarily. 12B Capital gives you the idea that maybe we're just an investment company that we're doing funding. That is part of our business. The other side of our business is actually in credit card processing. So if you're a business owner and you need to accept credit cards from your clients or your customers, we provide that service in whatever form or fashion you need it, whether it be online, in person, or just out on the spot doing trade shows and things. We can provide a solution for that. Then on the funding side, we're more on the high risk or unbankable side of things, where if a business owner, they have less than 2 years in business, maybe their credit's just a little bit messed up. They've got some circumstances where they can't go and walk into a bank. We can find them funding.
And how has your experience in military, how has that play a role with how you serve your clients?
Oh, wow. I mean, I can't think of one specific thing. Just the way I carry myself and the way I treat the people that I work with. I look at every relationship like we're a team. And by that, I mean that if I go out with malice in mind, something that's going to hurt that business owner, it hurts me. If I go out into the world and I'm trying to do good with these business owners and make sure that I'm providing them with something that will help them, become successful or continue their success, if that is the case, then I'm going to be successful. Because if I'm out there destroying and crushing the dreams of these business owners, it's all going to come back around. So I'd say if I had to put my finger on one thing, it would be that we're all a team.
And how have you been inspired by entrepreneurs? Like, do you have a story of maybe a client who maybe they reached out to you for advice outside of just running their business? Do anything pop into mind right now? The thing about it is inspiration. I mean, it comes from sometimes the most unexpected places. And my inspiration didn't really come from business by exactly. So my main inspiration has been my wife. She makes me a better person. She makes me want to be a better person. So she came to me a while back. It's been almost a year now, I guess. And she said, "What are we going to do to create something good with this business?" And we came up with an idea for this program that we call 12B Gives. And that's where, through that idea, that little spark that she brought me, it has brought so much inspiration through meeting with different nonprofit organizations and just really charitable-minded business owners. So I'd say, in a very long-winded way, my wife, it has been my inspiration on this path. How has your journey been, being able to take this new journey as a business person, as a professional? Oh man,
it's changed my entire life. The freedom that it affords you, when you're the guy, you're the person making the rules. You make your schedule. Now, the hours can be longer, but they're more flexible. And I think that the biggest thing for me is I can get up in the morning, I can take my daughter to school, I can pick her up at the end of the day, I can go and I can volunteer in her class. I mean, so just my overall quality of life has been wonderful. I think that it's helped our family really be able to spend more time and be able to bond a whole lot more than when you're doing that 9 to 5 and somebody else is depending on you always to be there, and you're always having to, clock in, clock out.
Mm-hmm. And say there's a veteran out there listening right now. What's some words of wisdom that you would give that individual to put their best foot forward as far as starting their own business?
For me, I'd have to say, just do it. you have the tools. I mean, you've no matter how long you did it, no matter how whether you deployed or not, you have done far more difficult things in your life. You've overcome far more difficult things than running a business. Now, am I saying that it's easy? No, sometimes sometimes it can be terrible, but you can do it. And there's another side to it. In the beginning, everything seems like it's insurmountable. It's like something that you'll never get over that hump, but you will if you drive for it, and if you want it bad enough and you dedicate yourself to it, you can absolutely do it. I have no doubt in my mind. Veterans and first responders and stuff, you just have a drive that, and no offense to anybody else, but you just have a drive that seems too rare these days. So take advantage of that and go for it, and lean on your other your brothers and sisters, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
When you made the transition from military to now having your own business and creating your own schedule, how was that transition?
It's a little messy. It's a learning. It's definitely a learning thing. I mean, going from knowing when you have to be there and when you have to leave, knowing that Saturday and Sunday are your days off, knowing that you have this holiday off, but you're going to work this holiday. There's some security in that. So going from that structure to, all right, here's 7 days in a week, do something with them. So I think that was a little intimidating in the beginning. So you have to kind of relearn how to manage your time and where you're going to spend your time, where your time is best spent and where you are just burning time. And you have to be, how would I say it? You can't be afraid to admit, man, I'm screwing this up. So that is not a good place to be. So I need to shift, I need to adjust, and I need to revisit, how I'm going to block my day out, because I don't think there's any right answer, any single right answer for everybody. Everybody has to come up with their own recipe for success when it comes to managing your day.
And that's awesome. That's a great segue to my next question. And we asked this so many times for our guests, but it's very important. What does success mean to you individually?
So for me, I'd have to say that the answer to that question has changed a number of times throughout my life, and I'd say has even changed here fairly recently. So for me, at the core, success means that I'm supplying enough happiness, financial stability, whatever kind of things that I can bring to the table to make sure that my family is doing okay, that they have the minimum that they need to be able to keep on moving and functioning, Yes. But then beyond that, once we've obtained that, I think that, and I say we as in everyone, once that is obtained, then I think that it's your duty to try to do for other people. And for me, my family and everything, we're solid. We've got what we need. We have some freedom to be able to do the things that we want to do. So that's where I started doing for others. And that's where my 12B Gives program comes in. So my next step in success would be to say that I'm going to help, and I don't know a number yet, I need to come up with one, X amount of nonprofits over the next year. I want to be helping to financially support a certain number of nonprofits, let's say, 50 by the end of the year. And that would be kind of my next step. I think that success is something that, you've never really achieved it, because I think that there's always something else you can be doing to kind of spread yourself around and be able to create new successes as you meet the ones that you've already planned for.
When you joined the military, take us back to that moment. What was going through your mind?
I was a junior in high school. I was 17 years old. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I came from my parents. A lot of people say, well, we didn't have much when I was a kid. I think that might have been an understatement for us. I mean, we did have a roof over our head, so that was good, but we struggled really, really hard. So I didn't really have anything to emulate as far as what I wanted to do with my life. So I'm sitting there, I'm in high school, 17 years old, in my junior English class. These two guys walk in, recruiters. One of them is about the nerdiest dude you've ever seen in your life. Like, round glasses, like with the arms that wrap all the way around, like your ears, like just total nerdy guy. And I'm thinking, there's no way this guy's in the military. And then another guy walks in, and his name was Joe. And he was just so cool. Walks in, he's talking about Germany and how beer was cheaper than water. And I was like, all right, that guy's cool. I'm going to listen to that guy. And he sold me on that moment. I was like, man, I'm going to join the military. I'm going to learn respect, and I'm going to learn, structure, and I'm going to go to college. And so I was just crazy motivated from that moment. That was in March of 2001. And as we all know, just a few months down the road after that, somebody crashed a couple of planes into a couple of buildings in New York. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting in my English class, again, looking across the street at the National Guard Armory that was across from our high school, completely just peeing in my pants, thinking, oh my God, what have I done? So I guess that's kind of where my mindset was in the beginning. It started off very motivated, and then it got a little scared at some point.
And when you were transitioning out of the military, what was the number one thing that you learned while serving?
I'd have to say, while I was serving, I'd say the importance of teamwork and sticking together and leaning on your brothers. That changed a little bit after leaving, because you lose that. And I think that's where a lot of veterans struggle in the transition, is you go from having these guys that you can depend on for anything. And when you go away, everybody goes away. I mean, everybody scatters to wherever it is that they are deciding to go, or where they're from, or whatever, and you lose that. So I guess ultimately in transition, I learned that nothing really lasts forever. Nobody's coming to save you. And that if you're going to do something, you have to stand up and you have to say, look at me, I'm here and I need some help, and not be afraid to do that, and not be too proud to do that, because we lose entirely too many good people in that transition because they're too afraid or too proud or whatever it is to stand up and ask for help. I lost my best friend in the entire world in 2009 to that struggle. And it should never happen.
Wow. Yeah, I like how you were saying nothing lasts forever, and living in the moment. And that's key for every single individual who wants to live a decent life. You have to make that choice. You can't put off. How have you use your training in military to always put yourself in a position to succeed?
I'd have to say that I'd say that just putting other people before myself. And that sounds a little weird because a lot of people will tell you, well, you need to put yourself first. Mm-hmm. But I feel that if you put the people around you, and for me, it's my family, but most of all, but it's also the business owners that I work with and the nonprofits that I'm trying to help. I put them first because if I can ensure their success and their happiness, then it's all gonna come back around for me. So I would say that putting the team first over whatever kind of crap I might be going through that day, or what might be bringing me down, or the stresses that I'm going through. It's putting the team that depends on me, putting them first, and putting everything else in the back of my mind until I accomplish what I've set out to accomplish.
And it's almost like, everyone's been watching March Madness, and the coaches and their teams, and they're all trying to fight to the very last second to get to the next game. And you're coaching these business owners to win their next game. How does that make you feel to be able to have that opportunity to almost take the burden off people's shoulders?
I feel wonderful. I love the feeling that I get every time that I know that I've helped a business understand or kind of get through something that they're going to be taken advantage of by a lot of people. So I'll give you a great example, real world example. I was doing an assessment for somebody on their credit card processing the other day. They were with a company that they'd been with for quite some time. And I looked back at some previous statements, and I was able to show them on a small month where they were processing, just shy of $100,000. Had they been processing with us, they would have saved $2,000 on that 1 month had they been with us. So that's me helping them get to their next win, right? Because that $2,000 that they saved, and that they will save every single month once they switch over to me, what could they put that into in their business? What could that do for their business to have an additional $2,000 every single month back in their pocket? So that's them, winning their next game. That's them investing it in their employees or investing it in new products or whatever it is. That's getting them to that next step.
And you, as a family man, a husband, you definitely have some very high standards and values. What's some of the things, say there's an entrepreneur out there, maybe they're a seasoned veteran in the business world, or they're just fresh out there. What's some of the values that they should have as far as running their business on a daily basis?
Don't let the dollar signs change who you are. So I'll go back to that same example that I just used. I could have saved the guy $1,000 a month and he still would have been happy. And I would have made an additional $1,000 every single month. But it wasn't the right thing to do, because the rate that I would be putting him at would still be terrible. It'd be just less terrible than what the person before me was doing to him. So I went to a fair rate right off the bat because it's the right thing to do. So seeing those dollar signs, those additional dollar signs, they can be so tempting. But as a business owner, and as just a good person, I think you owe it not just to them as your client, but you owe it to yourself to know that you're doing the best you can for them. Because as long as you can still make enough where it makes sense to do it, then you should always be looking out.
That's really
the best you can possibly do for them.
That's really good. And I think a lot of people should listen to that because it's true and it's very important if you want your business to survive long term, because short term, good, quick money is not all money is good, and especially if it's not honest money.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell my wife laughs at me when I say this sometimes, but I always say I'd rather make $1 off of 1,000 different people than $1,000 off of one person, because no matter what happens, that guy that you're making $1,000 off of, eventually he's going to realize that you're making way more money than you should off of his account. And he's going to come back and he is going to leave you in a hot second. And then what do you have?
That is true.
You've got nothing. You've got absolutely nothing anymore. But if for whatever reason you're making $1,000 off of $1,000 or $1,000 split over 1,000 people, say you have just something terrible happens. Somebody writes a horrible review about you and 50% of those people believe it. You still have $500 a month coming in because you have 500 dedicated clients that stuck with you through it. So it's just all a matter of perspective. It's great to make a lot of money really fast, but if you're not making it the right way, it's not going to last.
If you're just now tuning in, we are talking to combat veteran Isaac Belden, the president of 12B Capital. And say we have entrepreneurs out there, they're going to really love this podcast. I can feel it. What words of wisdom would you give to them to get to the next level? Like, say they're doing well in business, but mindset has been limited to where they can actually take their business.
I'd say this is going to sound weird, but let go of the things that you're not good at. If you're trying to beat your head against the wall on one aspect of your business, let's say it's social media or trying to manage your website or whatever it is, trying to come up with marketing material, you're not going to will yourself into being good at that. You got enough on your plate. Surround yourself with people that have the skills that you don't. Find people that are willing. I'm not saying that they're going to do it for free, but sometimes paying somebody to do something that you're terrible at is going to save you a whole lot more money than forcing yourself to try to learn it, because you're not just magically going to get better at it. You're not good at it at this point. Nothing short of going and paying for some class to learn it is going to get you there.
That's good right there. How can people get in contact with you, your website, and say they want your services? What's some of the first steps they need to do to get in contact?
So you can find us at www.12bcapital.com. You can also search 12B Capital on Facebook. That's the number 1, 2, the letter B, space, and then the word capital, CAPITAL. You can find us on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, Isaac Belden, ISAAC, and then my last name Belden is BELDEN. Those are the two main platforms that I operate on. You can find a lot of information about our business funding, our credit card processing, and also the work that we're doing to help bring business owners and nonprofits together to support nonprofit organizations.
And before we even close this awesome show, who do you want to give shout outs to?
Oh man, so many people. So I'll start from kind of childhood, right? And believe me, this won't go on too long. My grandfather, he was the man in my life that taught me what it's like or what it means to be a man and standing up and doing the right thing. And then my wife, for being my biggest supporter, my little girl for giving me like a reason and for being a dad is the greatest thing in the world. And also Jeff Shuford for introducing me to you and getting me on here. Oh gosh, so many other people that I don't really have the time to put out there, but all my leadership that was willing to put up with me being a complete smart ass for 12 years of my life in the military. And thank you to you for bringing me on the show.
Awesome. Well, before we can close the show, everyone, I want to give one more big shout out to our partner, Rockafellas Barbershop, Rico Rodriguez, the owner of that. And like I said, man, if you're going to be in San Antonio, or if you're already in San Antonio, that is 1733 Babcock Rd, San Antonio, Texas. And also Miss Kim for the best donuts in town, River City Donuts. Baby McClinton, All Sports Speed and Conditioning. His website is allsportsfitness.net. If you just go on the homepage, you see the awesome NFL and NBA players that he trained with. And yes, he was with the Spurs for a little bit. So you see Coach Pop. Yeah, that's it. Just go to the website. I don't even go too deep in that, but he's a good guy. Thank you, sir. And also overflowcafe.com. Is your business in need for some traffic, some good web traffic? You need to go to overflowcafe.com. Over 41,000 business owners are using their service, so don't you wait anymore. Last but not least, I want to give a big shout out to BeyondBeanie.com. Like I said in the beginning of the show, every profit that they make on their beanies and bracelets, they donate 10% for kids in need for food and dental care. So if you want to use my code for 25% off, that code is REED25. Again, that's REED25. Before we close this broadcast, just like I always say, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.